How we doing, guys? And welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. We just finished watching the Thursday night football game as the Atlanta Falcons prevailed over just just kidding. Carolina Panthers won the game. I was slightly distracted watching the Saquon interview. I was trying to read the TV, so my fault. I'm here with Mike Zappi. The Carolina Panthers prevailed behind Deontay Foreman, and I am angry at myself for not starting Deontay Foreman in my flex position. Instead, I went with Cordarrelle Patterson, who was completely shut down, and Marcus Mariota tonight reminded everyone why the Tennessee Titans gave up on him. 25-15 win for the Carolina Panthers. It is our
Yeah.
week. It is our week 10 NFL preview. Go ahead, Seppi.
No, it's funny because we were we were on the phone as I was driving back, and first I want to send the shout out to you and say thank you for your patience and allowing us to go live later instead of while I was on the road.
No, that's all good. Second time today that I managed to confuse the Panthers and the Falcons because I did it this morning too.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I had made a stop at a Buc-ee's and I was like, wait a minute, it's Thursday, and I look at the score and I'm like 13-0. What is going on? And I texted you immediately. But yeah, so I think it's just one of those Thursdays where we weren't really paying attention to the game.
It was weird, man. I watched the game, but it was just like I wasn't completely engaged because I'll be honest, man, there was a lot of bad football being played tonight on both sides. Carolina outplayed them for about 46 minutes, but it still came down to one possession late. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. But, it kind of just opens the door up a little more for the Buccaneers, gives them a little more room to possibly fall this weekend in Germany. And if they win, they're going to open up a nice lead against the Falcons. Surprisingly, the Panthers are still in the race for the NFC South. So we'll see.
And speaking of those Buccaneers, they are hosting, sort of, the Seattle Seahawks. The game's going to be played in Germany. This is the team, not the same team, of course, but Tom Brady beat this franchise in Super Bowl 49. Bucks are coming off a feel-good win against the defending Super Bowl champion Rams, soon to be former Super Bowl champion Rams, because I'd be shocked if they made the playoffs, let alone did anything past that. Seahawks have been one of the two true surprises in the NFC, the other being my New York Football Giants. Geno Smith, career resurrection, and in lieu of the injury to Penny, Kenneth Walker has just been excellent. And schematically, they are run blocking really well. Geno is making the throws. Pete Carroll is putting him in positions to succeed. And, it also helps when you got two excellent receivers in the form of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Noah Fant's been stepping up a little bit here and there, too, in that offense.
Yeah, you've really got to take a second and admire what this team is doing, because I think everyone had canceled out the Seahawks for this season. No one thought they were going to be a 6-win team at this point. No one thought Geno Smith was going to put up these numbers. But, now Seattle looks like geniuses for trading Russell Wilson and getting the draft equity they got, getting away from that contract. And, I was a big fan of Kenneth Walker coming out of Michigan State. He was one of the guys in one of our preseason shows where I said he could be in the running for Rookie of the Year. He was a guy that I was hoping to sneak away with in the draft, but John took him right before me. It happens. But, going into this game, it's a very interesting game because it's, Tom Brady, it's the rematch. It's Tom Brady versus Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, does he still have that game in the back of his head where he should have ran the ball with Marshawn? Maybe not. But if you ask me to pick right now, going into Germany, I think just the stage is going to be so loud. I mean, we're talking about a game being played where there was 3 million ticket requests for a stadium that holds 60,000 fans or so. So
Yeah,
we
it's
already know.
definitely a historical happening.
Yeah, it is. And there's only been one other NFL game played in Germany, but it was a preseason game. This is the
Yeah.
first regular season game. So that right there goes hand in hand. And then, these German fans, they are loud, and we cannot forget that there is a lot of American representation out in Germany from all the armed forces out there. So it's going to be a rowdy place, and it's going to be more of which team responds to it better. And honestly, I feel like Seattle's going to, because one, they play behind the 12th man year in and year out, and they're just playing better football right now. The Buccaneers came away with a win last week on a what should have been a Rams victory.
It was a bit of a gift. I'll give you that.
It was absolutely a gift, and I'm looking forward to seeing Geno Smith and do his thing, passing for a 250 to 275, 2 touchdowns, and Kenneth Walker to have a big game in this game. The Buccaneers, I just don't think that they came back from that win. It's going to set their season correct. I think there's still a lot of issues going on. And now with Leonard Fournette voicing his opinion about getting touches taken away from him, it only leads to a more disgruntled locker room. So I have the Seahawks winning this one.
I'm going the other way in this game. The Tampa defense is gradually getting healthier. And yes, I understand that the team they beat last week is not as good as the team that they're going to play this week. But sometimes it does take even a set of flukish or bad circumstances, bad play calling from the opponent. You win a feel-good game, all of a sudden you start feeling better about yourselves. Yes, as far as Leonard Fournette goes, you and I had this conversation off the air a couple of hours ago, and I myself stated that I don't feel that he's being a very good teammate, worried about his carries when there are so many other things that are wrong with this football team. His ability to hit the holes properly is part of the reason why he has not been getting all these carries as well. But I do believe that the Tampa defense is going to rise to the occasion. I agree with half of what you said. I think Kenneth Walker is going to have another quality game, but I think Geno Smith, uncharacteristic to the season that he has had thus far, I think he's going to have a rough game. He's going to miss a couple downfield that could swing the game their way, and I think he's going to throw a couple of picks, and I think Tampa's going to get some pressure on him. On the other side of the football, it's no secret that to get to Tom Brady, you got to go through the middle of the line. I think Tom Brady's going to do a good job hitting his check down receivers, and I also think Scotty Miller, actually, of all people, is going to have a game. And I'm also kind of excited that Brady kind of has a new tight end now. Cade Otton is starting to grow in that offense, and I think I wouldn't say a blow-up game, but I do think he's going to have some moments that could swing this game. I got the Buccaneers winning this thing. I'm going Bucks 27, Seahawks 24. I think it's going to be close. I think the Bucks are going to win it late.
Wow, I have 27-23, the other way around. And the last point I would make, the only reason why I've been trying to sell the Bucks defense, but it scares me when your leading sacker is your one technique defensive tackle and Vita Vea with 6.5 sacks on the season.
Yeah, so Vita Vea had a hell of a game last week. I think so. I guess we both agree this is a one-possession game, so let's see who's right about this one. But it's going to be a good ball game. I do believe that to be true.
Oh, absolutely.
I do believe this, though. I think a Tampa loss here doesn't really affect them down the stretch because of what Atlanta just did. It's still super mediocre.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that whoever wins that division is going to end up as the number 4 seed, and it looks like it's going to be Tampa. Second place is not making the playoffs, so this loss does not affect their season whatsoever. And the other thing people need to start realizing, that this might be the very first time in NFL history we see a 10-loss team make the playoffs.
Almost happened. It almost happened in 2020
with the NFC East.
Yeah, if Doug Peterson didn't lay down, my New York Giants would have had that dubious distinction. So looking back at it, I'm actually okay with how that played out, but I was very pissed off that night. We got the Vikings traveling to Buffalo. This could be a lot of things. Could this be a Super Bowl preview? Or could this be a game of two teams that potentially could be pretending? Now, if I say Buffalo is a pretender, people probably look at me like a little crazy. But we saw the game. We each did. We saw the Josh Allen injury. That's my fantasy starting quarterback in two different leagues. More importantly, this is possibly the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Case Keenum, who has a huge familiarity with Josh Allen's favorite weapon, Mr. Stephon Diggs, played with him in Minnesota, Minneapolis Miracle. Who will start for Buffalo? That is the concern. Buffalo's been playing down this elbow injury with Josh Allen, whereas some other sources are saying this could be worse. This could be Tommy John surgery down the road. This could be a lot of things. On the conservative safe side, I think a lot of people feel that Josh Allen should sit. As a fantasy owner, I don't want that, but in the grand scheme of things, I'd admit that it could be the right way to go. What are your thoughts on this Josh Allen situation?
Honestly, this injury, while people are trying to play it as it's not serious, it's this, it's that, the Bills doing the same thing. I think it's honestly in the Bills' best interest and Josh Allen's interest to sit him for 2 to 4 weeks. This is an injury in baseball terms where pitchers see this all the time, and there are different degrees of this sprain: first, second, third, complete tear off the bone, everything. If he injures his elbow any further, we're talking about Tommy John surgery for an NFL quarterback that can throw the ball 80 yards down the field. A guy that throws the ball very hard, and he's equivalent to a pitcher that throws at 95 to 100 miles per hour. So is it really that important for your team to win versus the Minnesota Vikings, a team that doesn't even play in your own conference? Just, where you could still possibly beat them with Case Keenum in the lineup because you still have a defense. You made a great point. Stephon Diggs and Case do know each other. And I personally, like I said, I want them to sit Josh Allen because the career he is having, it just keeps getting better. And you would really hate to see something like this really derail it.
We saw it in the Miami game when they rushed Tua out there, different kind of injury. What's what we were talking about, a head injury. The thing here is that, my gut tells me that Buffalo is not completely acknowledging, at least in the public eye, of the severity of this injury. But then again, it's all speculative until we see the man play, whether it's this week, the week after, or the week after that. As far as the game goes, I'll give you two outcomes. If Josh Allen plays this week, and if he is not what I think he is in terms of health, I think the Minnesota Vikings could pull off the road W. Now, having said that, if Case Keenum plays in Josh Allen's place, this might be a little off the wall. I actually think the Buffalo Bills have a better chance of winning this game because they do have the defense necessary to win this game. And, it's unfortunate if Allen is not right to play because I think we get cheated as fans out of a legitimate showcase of a Justin Jefferson versus Stephon Diggs, the former Viking, the newer Viking, in a real classic battle. That's unfortunate. On the bigger scale, bigger picture, yeah, I tend to agree with you. That is your franchise cornerstone. And this is the closest the Buffalo Bills have been being in the conversation of winning a conference championship and being a Super Bowl visitor They've been close the last couple of years, but the first time truly since the 90s during the run of 4 Super Bowls. And that is one thing these two organizations have in common is that they both are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. So we shall see. We shall see where this takes us. As far as the game goes, with Keenum, Buffalo's going to win this thing 24-23. With Josh Allen, Buffalo's going to win this thing 26-23. It's a 2-point difference. I don't think that's how confident I am that the Bills can navigate a win regardless of who the quarterback is, because I actually do have a lot of faith in their defense. And I also think that Minnesota, even though they have a nice little record there, could potentially be paper tigers because they haven't beaten anybody this year when you really look. And they have beaten 3 backup quarterbacks. This will be the 4th one they play this year.
Well, to Eddie and Mike, you're going to love what I have to say about your Raiders. And as far as this game goes, all right, so I have 2 different outcomes as well. If Josh Allen plays and he plays like the Josh Allen we know him to be, then it's going to be a competitive game early, but I see Buffalo walking away with it late. Their offense is run through Josh Allen. This guy, he accounts for 23 out of 25 of their offensive touchdowns, whether rushing or passing. That's a lot, you know.
No, what do I get? I get it. I do, but again, coaches adapt, teams adapt, and just because that's what we've become accustomed to seeing, because the man doesn't miss a lot of games, doesn't mean that they can't adapt and win. That's what championship caliber teams do, and I consider Buffalo a championship caliber team. Eddie, we're going to go off script here for a moment, and we're going to actually bump into the Raider game and then come back to what we were going to talk about next. Zappy, I apologize. What is your final?
No, that's fine.
All right. What is your final?
So 38-24 Buffalo if it is a normal, healthy Josh Allen. If it's Case Keenum, it is 24-20 Minnesota.
Fair.
Either way, I have Minnesota scoring 24 points. Nothing changes except for who's at quarterback for Buffalo.
All right. The Colts visit the Las Vegas Raiders. If I was coining this game with a title, it would be called the Mediocrity Bowl.
However, nice.
We have Jeff Saturday making his coaching debut. Peyton Manning called him out on calling the plays. Now he will have some influence over that. I'm trying to beef this thing up. Josh McDaniels, always been a great play caller, not a good head coach. And the Raiders have had less than 50 plays with their 4 most prolific offensive players on the field together. That is absurd. This is a tough one to forecast. I like the Raiders just a little more here. Similar to how they looked like a functional football team a couple of weeks back when they were able to defeat the Houston Texans, I think that they're going to be able to beat a team that the Texans tied, Jesus, in the form of the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going Raiders 27, Colts 16. Raiders are going to have a convincing victory. They're going to be able to run the ball. And Derek Carr is going to hook up with his buddy Devontae Adams for at least one score and at least for one Sunday look like the player that they thought they got.
So I do agree with Eddie and Mike that just said about that. Next one. But all right. So Frank Wright was fired.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that has Gus Bradley on their coaching staff. This is a team that has other coaches that have been head coaches.
I knew you were going to go here. That's why I let you do this.
That's why I brought this up. Never has there ever been a day where an individual was hired to be a head coach or interim head coach quotations, without any type of coaching experience.
I feel like the Steinburners made this hire as well. Shout out Aaron Boone.
This is not baseball, sir.
I know,
Big
sir, but I
different
just
world.
wanted to put a little dig in there.
But
I love my Yankees, but I'm not the biggest Boone supporter. Let's just say that.
I have to give credit to where credit's due. Jim Irsay was in trouble in the past. I truthfully believe that he was a bottle deep, and maybe on his second bottle of scotch.
I love Jeff Saturday. Don't get me wrong. I really do, but this sounds more like, okay, let me keep it football related. This sounds more like Joe Judge winning the interview. That's what this sounds like.
That it has to be. Although, like I said, hey, look, Jeff Saturday is a great individual. He's in the Ring
I
of
love
Honor.
him to death, and he's a big reason why we had a football season in 2011.
Yeah, exactly. He's and we cannot forget about the fact that even though he lives in Atlanta, he is a consultant for the Colts.
Yeah.
This guy understands. I like the hire. I'm not going to lie. Although, is it the right thing? No, absolutely not. There's a lot more people that are fully qualified, more than qualified, to be head coaches. Of course, people are saying, oh, well, the Rooney Rule. That does not apply in this situation because it's an interim coach.
It's an interim deal.
So for that reason, which that's a funny little sneak around, because now, let's just say Saturday wins 50% of the games or even a little more, he's going to be the head coach next year.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the Raiders have proven that you could have an interim coach that takes you to the playoffs, but let's get Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, well, that just goes to show that haircut is definitely messing with Mark Davis's thinking. But anyways, look, Jim Irsay made a fool of himself doing the interview, trying to justify why he signed Jeff Saturday.
Doing that whenever he's
touche. But I, if there's anyone that can actually get this team sparked up, if there's anyone that can actually possibly fix this offensive line, it's Jeff Saturday.
Eddie, it's not hate, brother. It's the truth.
Yeah, and I love what Eddie said. He's a leader of men and knows the game of football 100%. I'm behind the signing, but I'm not behind the signing. So, and then we insert the Raiders, a team that, oh yeah, we're going to go get Josh McDaniels. We're going to trade for Devontae Adams. We're going to go ahead and get
Derek Carr.
We have Derek Carr.
They're living together.
They live together.
They're rooming together.
The best. Then they go get what's his name from the Cardinals? Oh God, it's brain fart. Defensive end, Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones having a terrible year.
And
Patrick Graham runs that defense. I know what Patrick Graham is not getting done. Bad hire there too. Raiders coaching staff is not. They're not good. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Vegas Raider next year because he is burning every bridge in Green Bay. And I think after your team wallops them on Sunday, that's going to be like truly the beginning of the end and the beginning of the checkout, the discount double checkout.
Well, Adam Sigrid interim. I truly believe that if Rodgers does in fact get traded, it's going to be between two teams, and that being the 49ers or the Raiders next year. But then also looking at the Raiders, they just put Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on IR.
Yeah, as I alluded to.
So
they've only had 4 games of their best 4 offensive threats
together. So it almost tells me that they are now entering tank mode. And
I don't even think it's tank mode. I just think they're not good.
Well, yeah, I guess they don't have to enter tank mode.
Yeah,
I have Jeff Saturday having this team playing some inspired football, coming into Las Vegas and winning the game.
All right, what's your final here?
Does it matter?
I just want to hear this.
17-14.
Maybe. They're two bad teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but who has the better defense? The Colts. Who's got the more reliable offensive line right now? Probably the Raiders. But who's got the play caller? Well, shoot. The Raiders. Who's got the coach? The Raiders. But no, they've had that all year, and they've only won 2 games.
All right. This was fun. I laughed a lot on this.
17-14.
If it wasn't for Jeff Saturday, there's no way we would have covered this game. But I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out. But thankfully, this one can be super quick. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to stick around in this game. Trevor Lawrence. This is going to be potentially a signature moment where he has to shoot out with a true great. Jaguars are going to lose this game, but they are going to compete. I've got the Chiefs winning this thing for 2 consecutive weeks in overtime, 36-30. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to hang around. I think the Chiefs are going to overlook them, and by the time the Chiefs wake up, they're going to be like, oh, damn, we're in a ball game. Chiefs will do enough to win the game. This is going to be close. I actually think that from a player-for-player standpoint, believe it or not, the Jaguars match up well with this Chiefs team. They're not going to beat them, though.
The Jaguars
and Doug Peterson versus Andy Reid, 2 former Eagle coaches. You know, it's kind of interesting, sort of.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. I mean,
that's my final. Short and sweet.
We can talk about
36-30 Chiefs and OT.
All right, well, look, Doug Peterson and Andy Reid, they coached together in Green Bay. So, hey. Yeah, I think Jacksonville's going to be in this game. I think it's going to be close. And then the Chiefs are going to score the first touchdown, and then it's going to be 7-0. And then the Jaguars, they're going to put together a drive and make it to midfield and then punt the ball away. And then the score is going to be 14-0.
All right. Good stuff. So, what's your final here?
Look, I'm taking the Chiefs in this one, 38-21. The Chiefs now have an opportunity with this Josh Allen injury to really take control of the AFC and get a grasp of that number 1 seed. And for that reason, I think they're going to really start clicking. Kadarius Toney, he made some great catches last week. Their offense looks like they're starting to click a lot better. Defense is playing well. 38-21, not 38-20, 38-21. And yeah, Chiefs, easy win. It's at Arrowhead. If it was in Jacksonville, I would agree with you a lot more.
If it was in Jacksonville, I wouldn't. I just think this has sleepwalk written over it, but they'll win the game. That's all I got. Browns at Dolphins. After ruining my flex position today with a poor choice, not starting Deontay Foreman, I cannot afford another running back offer. I need Nick Chubb to do something for me in this game. And because of that reason, he will not. I've got the Miami Dolphins winning this thing 41-20. Runaway time. Nick Chubb, I hope, gets his yardage early in the first quarter to make a respectable day, maybe a little bit into the second. I have a feeling that the Dolphins are going to accrue a big lead and that the Browns are going to be playing catch-up in a big way. And when that happens, I do think to a level, Nick Chubb could be written out of the game script, similar to what happened to him in New England. But I can't complain. Nick Chubb has been money all season as a fantasy player. As the game goes, I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be able to spread out the Browns, and I also think that they're going to be able to run the ball when they want to, two back sets in addition to you always having to account for Waddle whenever he's on the field. Miami Dolphins in a rather easy one.
So I actually have this game a lot closer, and the reason for that is because of the Browns' ability to run the ball with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Yeah, Miami's going to have a good offensive game, but I think this is going to be another one of those Miami games where they're supposed to blow them out, and they don't, and it keeps it close. I believe Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to each have a great game. Yeah, that's exactly along the lines of where I have Nick Chubb, what Eddie and Micah just said. I believe he'll be short of 100, but he's going to have an impact. I think the Browns keep it close. Ultimately, I think the Dolphins do come out victorious.
I'll take that stat line, Eddie. I'll take that stat line.
Yeah, ultimately, I believe that the Dolphins will have some troubles. Don't forget, the Browns do have a good defense. We cannot take that away from them. And they have a defense that can keep the game
They have a
close.
talented defense that doesn't always play well as a unit.
Touche. But it's still, this is one of those games where it'll go well for them. And yeah, so I'm going to take Miami. I'm actually going to take Jalen Waddle, your guy, to have a big game and not Tyreek Hill. Tyreek's still going to get his 100 yards, but I believe Waddle's going to get around 150. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, the Dolphins are going to come away victorious, 28-24.
All right. My guys, the New York Football Giants, coming off the bye week, 6-2, very excellent start. Nobody expected it, but a very lackluster offensive performance in Seattle, not to mention the special teams blunders on the behalf of number 80, Richie James. I will not blame Richie James for the loss. We didn't play well enough to win. It's a team sport. Too many other things didn't go right. It's a credit to the Seahawks. We're playing the Texans this week, a team that has only won one game this year but is rather scrappy. Dameon Pierce having a hell of a rookie campaign. Kid from University of Florida. Very good running back. And the Giants struggle against stopping the run. These are reasons for concern. Another reason for concern is that the Giants will be without Xavier McKinney for maybe a month, maybe longer, maybe the year. We don't know yet. I expect Dane Belton as well as Landon Collins to be called upon to have bigger roles, and I do think that they are both capable of performing in a more expanded role for each of them. Saquon Barkley, Dameon Pierce, that is going to be the storyline of this game, and I am calling it now before he has the emotional rematch against his former team, which will happen next week. Kenny Golladay, this is not in Madden, this is in real life, will score a touchdown in the red zone as a winded Texans defense after a Saquon 50-yard scamper. They're on their heels. They're puffing. Danny Dimes, corner, Golladay, touchdown. I got the Giants winning this thing. I'm going to go 23-17. I don't think this is going to be an easy game by any means. One thing I do want to give the Texans credit for is that they are very good at inducing a rather poor completion percentage when they blitz. Giants are a little dinged up on the O-line, but they are still more than capable of beating this team. They will, but the typical Giant game, it will be close. Giants will improve to 7-2 on the season as they get ready to take on Galladay's Lions.
So I feel like your prediction on Kenny Golladay was very similar to what happened in that Madden clip you shared.
Yeah.
So let me remind you.
People probably thought it was a game from last year when he was rated higher because everybody thought that was a good signing.
I've got to say, hey Richie, this is not Madden. Kenny Golladay is going to get 2 receptions for 15 yards,
and one of them is going to be for a touchdown.
That's going to be called back due to offensive holding.
More importantly, is my team going to win this game?
Yes, your team is going to win this game in Madden or live. The Texans are going to come out, be scrappy. Brandon Cooks could very well make an impact of catching 3 passes for 54 yards. But Dameon Pierce is a running back that, like I told you earlier, he's having a great year.
He's going to have a big first half. I think we're going to make the necessary adjustments to shut him down in the second half.
And I think your defense is going to be playing the bend but don't break style of defense.
You're going to see a lot of their kicker.
A lot of their kicker, and that's where my score is going towards. The Giants are just going to make more plays. I have the Giants coming out on top 20-16.
Close to my final. Well, we're on the same wavelength there. Giants will improve to 8-2.
7-2.
I'm already thinking about the revenge game in Detroit. We've got We might as well, we might as well talk about these other guys. Your Dallas Cowboys. How about the Green Bay?
Oh, this is a game. You go first.
Okay. Of course, I'm rooting for the Packers. If the Giants win and the Cowboys lose, the Giants are in second place by themselves. But that's not what's going to happen here. The Green Bay Packers are just banged up. Aaron Jones is not 100%. Dallas actually plays the Cowboys better in Lambeau than they do in AT&T. You figure that out.
Dallas plays the Packers better in Lambeau.
They have not had that dominance since Texas Stadium and, the different quarterbacks. Favre could never beat Dallas. Rodgers has made a living out of it in that building. But Dallas does tend to play better in Lambeau. They have beaten them in Lambeau before. Of course, the controversial Dez Bryant, no catch. Cowboys should have won that game. Let's keep it honest around here. They should have won that game. As far as this one goes, I do think you're going to see a little more workload for A.J. Dillon because of the fact that Aaron Jones is playing at not 100%. Jones is a gamer. He's going to do his best. There's just too many injuries. And the best connection that Aaron Rodgers has had is also dinged up and not going to play in Romeo Doubs. They lost Rashawn Gary for the year last week. Their defense has underachieved all year. I don't think this is necessarily going to be like an offensive masterpiece on Dallas's part, but I do think that their defense is going to make life very difficult for Aaron Rodgers and company. And I just don't think Green Bay has the horses to hang with the Dallas Cowboys. I got the Cowboys winning this thing 27-16 in a very convincing win. And I've got Tony Pollard and Zeke both contributing here. But this ultimately comes down to, believe it or not, Dalton Schultz. Green Bay's inability to cover tight ends is going to get exposed. And I think Schultz has the ability to potentially have a blow-up game. And, of course, in the long lineage of number 88s for your franchise, CeeDee Lamb produces and has a nice little game.
It's crazy because, we're talking about Dallas now, and we haven't even hit on OBJ yet. And this is another one of those games where Dallas is checking off boxes over the next couple of weeks. Beat the Packers, beat the Giants, get OBJ. Anyways, this game scares me. And here's why. Although I feel a lot better about it. The Bears ran for over 200 yards against our defense. And when that day happened, I was sitting there like, oh, man, our run defense needs to be fixed. But the Bears had – yeah, right. But the Bears defense has or the Bears offense has literally rushed for over 200 yards.
4.5 sacks. Is Dallas going to play with 12 guys on every play?
No, that they're just finally going to start calling all the holding, and Parsons will get his sacks. Well, and they don't have Bakhtiari playing either. So
I just got used to that. I forgot that he still played there.
Yeah, right.
It's not a playoff game. Why is he not playing?
I think he had one too many beers.
Okay.
Yeah, no, look, the Packers, this game is about to me, this game is not about Dallas versus Green Bay. This game to me is about Aaron Rodgers versus Mike McCarthy. And
you think that that's going to be the thing that gets Aaron Rodgers into drive mode?
I do. I absolutely do, because those are the things that gets Aaron Rodgers to get going. It's little things like that. It's not the fact that he's playing Dallas. It would be, if it was him playing Dallas in Dallas, he would be all over it. But it's the fact that he's playing his former head coach.
You don't have anything to be worried about. He had that same venom for the 49ers. They didn't draft me, and they're going to pay, and he can't beat them ever in the playoffs. Can't beat them.
Well, yeah, just like how Brett Favre couldn't beat Dallas, but that, no, until
he got to Minnesota.
Right. To me, this comes down to the fact that if Aaron Jones was 100%, then I would be more inclined.
You'd have more reason to worry.
Yeah, and I'd be more inclined to pick Green Bay. But because Aaron Jones is banged up, he's going to lose touches. Dallas is coming off the bye week, and a bye week that was needed where they're going to get their run defense going and their pass defense. Aaron Rodgers does not have a receiver to throw to. Their defense is banged up. This is, Dallas, before going into the bye, had a great offensive shootout or blow up. this is going to be another game where Dak's going to lead the way. And yes, I actually agree with you. I think Dalton Schultz is going to be the X factor for Dallas. Tony Pollard's going to get a lot of carries because they're going to slowly work Zeke back into the offense.
Yes.
So
similar to what they're going to do with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and I expect Pollard to have a really big game again. I'm taking Dallas to also score 27, but I don't have Green Bay scoring 16. I have them scoring 17.
Last thing related to this game. Is OBJ better than Gallup or a good addition to Gallup? OBJ is better than Gallup with one bad knee, let alone two.
OBJ 100%. I mean, this is a guy where Gallup's coming off a similar injury. OBJ is just a better athlete, hands down. There, you can't take that away from him.
That wasn't worthy of an assessment. I thought that was a troll job. We're going to hit my other picks before we go into our primetime games. I got the Bears defeating the Lions by 4 in a bit of a shootout, actually. I like the way the Bears offense has been playing lately. And I'm sure the Bears like the way the Lions defense usually plays. We got the Steelers, at least I do, winning by 5 at home in Hines. Kenny Pickett getting his first career dub. The Rams beating the Cardinals by 3. The one that stands out to me here and the one that would worry me, the Titans and Broncos play similar styles. The Titans do it better because the Titans actually win games. But my fear, if I was a Titans fan, is can they fall asleep at the wheel and almost fall into a coma playing that kind of football against the Broncos? Now, I get it. They do this every week. But, Mile High is still Mile High. It's not always a gimme out there. And while I got the Titans winning by 9, I think it's going to be tough. And I wouldn't be blown away if the Broncos pull off a surprising win there. But that is my pick, though. I'm going with the Titans.
So looking at your picks, I got to say, yeah, I agree. I think the Bears-Lions is going to be a bit of a shootout, but it's hard to be a shootout when one team runs the ball as well as they do and the other one passes it. But the Bears stayed with the Dolphins the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This could be the kind of game where the Lions are up 14-0 and the Bears come back.
Yeah, it very well could be. I actually have the Bears winning more 34-30, but similar spread of victory. Titans, Broncos, yeah, I think this is going to be a big day for King Henry. Even though they're going into Mile High, I just expect him to have another big day. I mean, he had a big day against the Chiefs in Kansas City where it took halftime adjustments. And if you were to ask me who do I trust more to make halftime adjustments, yeah, Andy Reid any day. And then as far as the Rams-Cardinals go, this to me is a coin flip. It really is. And I just think the Rams are a better team right now. But I think both of them are pretty much bad.
Yeah.
The one I really want to talk about is the Steelers-Saints one. Throughout Mike Tomlin's career, great career, should I say, where he's finally going to have a losing season, he has beaten 31 out of 32 NFL teams. And I don't know if you knew that.
No, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. And this is the one team he has never defeated.
Wow, and it would be New Orleans
Saints.
And if it goes that way, it would be Pickett's first career win.
It would be Pickett's first career
win. That's a bit of a storyline there.
And then the other storyline with this game is Najee Harris. It is time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to not necessarily sit him, but for the remainder of the season, make him the number 2 back and insert Jaylen Warren as their starting running back.
I mean, early in the year, you brought this up about the Liz Frank situation and how it is a lingering kind of injury. The Steelers are going nowhere, and I completely agree that considering this kid is only in his sophomore year of the NFL, it would be a wise idea to lighten that workload. The Steelers are going nowhere this year, but they will win Sunday.
Yeah, and they need to implement Jaylen Warren. They need to implement more George Pickens. It's time to see what your future is all about. They got a whole second half. I think they are going to get some answers.
I actually think that the Steelers are in better shape than people realize. I just think that this year was the uncharacteristic real earth crater of a season that they've had. And, to your point, Tomlin has never had a losing season, and it was time that it was going to happen. We're going to move it. Go ahead.
But anyways, I have this one. While I want to take Pittsburgh, I really do. I think it's going to continue to haunt Mike Tomlin, and the Saints come out on top, 1916.
Will Lutz from 68, NFL record. Yeah. They don't call it Heinz Field anymore. It doesn't matter. The Chargers at the San Francisco 49ers, a rematch of the 1995 Super Bowl, where Jerry Rice scored a touchdown before most Charger fans were sitting down.
No kidding.
That has nothing to do with this. The 49ers' ability does not reflect their record. They are 4-4, but they are definitely trending upward. Definitely a team that I could see playing deep into January, potentially into the Super Bowl in February. As far as these Chargers go, a game better at 5-3, have been doing it with all litany of injuries. I got to give them credit because they are weathering the storm. It also helps them that the Raiders have had such an off year and that the Broncos are a mess. But, you still got the Chiefs in that division, a team that I don't necessarily think they're going to catch. But the Chargers I do see as a playoff team. As the game goes, I think the 49ers are going to win at the point of attack. I think Justin Herbert is going to be in for a long day. I think George Kittle is going to have a good day. And I think the 49ers, in addition to winning the turnover battle, are just going to win the physical battle. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be doing a little bit of everything. And I think Deebo Samuel is going to have himself a little bit of a day as well. The typical Jimmy G stat line, not blowing up anything, but he has a hell of a team around him. And I like the 49ers to win this thing 30-20. I think the Chargers score a late touchdown to make that score a little more respectable, but I think the Chargers are going to have a very long day.
I hate what I'm about to say. The 49ers are coming off a bye week where before that, CMC went nuts in his second game as a 49er.
Yeah, for sure.
And now he's coming off a bye week, now knowing the offense a lot more, and insert Deebo Samuel into the equation. And not to mention, Brandon Ayuk is actually a really good receiver too.
Oh,
George Kittle's more healthy. This 49er team is getting healthy. Jason Verrett, and the only thing is Jason Verrett, it's time to retire.
Yeah, It's unfortunate. Got hurt in practice. That's his season, possibly his career.
Yeah, so time. But this 49er team, they have the formula to make a deep run. They really do. And this is one of those games where I said it last week. I believe the 49ers are a dark horse to sign OBJ. This is one of those games where
I would be a lot more at peace if he doesn't come to our team. I don't want him to go to your team, so I'd be better off with him going to that team.
You want him to come to Dallas. You want him to win a Super Bowl in our division. But look, the Chargers, they are still not healthy. They've been relying on a bunch of number 3 receivers, and while it's been working, they haven't played the likes of a 49ers defense that can really punch you in the mouth.
And I'm going to be honest. They are not much healthier from a couple of weeks back when the Seattle Seahawks put it on them. This 49er team is much more diverse and much more talented than the Seattle Seahawks. And I love Austin Eckler. I love the toughness of Justin Herbert. I do think Eckler will have a game regardless of losing because he is a dual threat and he's going to get his hands on the football. 49 is just too good for this team, and the record doesn't reflect it. But you're going to see that record of 4-4 look like 8-4 in about a month.
Yeah. Oh, it's the 49ers definitely have the opportunity to finish the year at 12-5 because when you really look at their schedule, they only have 3 road games left. No, I have the 49ers winning this game, running away with it 34-17.
All right. We got the Commanders making the trip to the Link. The Eagles, with their former quarterback Carson Wentz in the first matchup, really had their way with this Commanders O-line. Just had their way in every aspect of that football game. The Commanders coming off a loss last week, but they are playing better football. Therefore, I expect this team to put up a better fight. And I do think this game is going to be a little closer. Philly is going through that thing now where they are chasing history to a level. It's a little early to talk about that, but they are undefeated still, the only undefeated team in the league. And they're going to start getting people's best punch. You made a good point off air that the Washington Commanders have responded much better to Taylor Heinicke. And I do believe that this will be a game. In the end, I trust the Philly offense to make less mistakes. They have the better O-line, but I do think the Washington Commanders will play inspired football. But unfortunately for them, they will not be able to stop the Philly undefeated streak. I got the Eagles winning this thing by a score of 27-23. I think the Commanders are going to hang around, but it will be late in the game where Philly makes the necessary stops.
Yeah, this Commanders team, while I still believe they're an improving team, this is a team that I actually said I wouldn't be surprised if they finished with 10 wins before
I
the
remember
season.
you said that, yeah.
And I said even then they're
and
going
I
to
said
win.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's drunk right now when you said that. But nonetheless,
and I said, but they could very easily win 8 or, and it looks like they're on track to do that. I like the Commanders team, how much they have improved. I really do, but they will play inspired football. Don't get me wrong. Taylor Heinicke has really sparked this offense. They should have beat the Vikings last week. They should have.
Yeah, I thought they had that. I will admit. I'm glad they didn't because, my Giants are in third right now, and I would like to see the Commanders go that way.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, I understand.
But at the same time, I'm not into conceding a division, but I'm a realist. The Giants have an imperfect roster, so somebody in the East will lose this game, right? And Giants will win, so Giants are going to pick up a game on somebody. That's how I got to look at every week.
Yeah, and that's how I tend to look at it this week as well. The Eagles are the better team. It's that simple. But the Commanders' defense has been playing a lot better.
Yeah, no doubt.
As Chase Young is nearing his return, that might be too little, too late. But I think we're going to see Heinicke play some inspired football, keep it a close game. But ultimately, I have the Eagles coming out on top, 24-20. Same spread as you, just 4.
Before we get out of here, I wanted to pass this to you. Got about 7 minutes. First of all, I wanted to say on behalf of the show, myself, happy Veterans Day to you, bud. Coming up tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, man.
I just want to let you know that, I appreciate your sacrifice for our country. And I just wanted to say, as a brother of mine and one of my best friends, that I genuinely appreciate you and your brothers and sisters. And thank you very much.
No, thank you. And, I do want to take a moment to remind everybody what tomorrow means, that for all of the active duty, Guard, Reserve, and our veterans, thank you for everything that y'all have done. Eddie's one of them that's watching right now. His wife is one of them. I worked with them. Great people. For the individuals that put in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case, they took the time, the effort to allow this country to be the country it is, to allow us to have freedom, the thing that we are so grateful for having. While some people will argue about this, we have it good in this country. We have that. And while we are in the middle of the midterm elections, as they come to an end and we're still waiting on some results, everyone needs to put their political affiliation to the side and just realize we are all one. We're united, as to the term United States of America. And it's important that we take time and just say thank you to all veterans now, all active duty, all members that have served, that are serving, all members that are overseas, deployed in any location they're deployed. Just take a moment and thank them, because that thank you actually goes a long way. Remember, everyone, we are remembering the people that are serving or have served. This is not to remember the people that have passed, that we have a special day for that as well.
Correct.
And the other thing for the current members that are serving, don't make it about going to a restaurant to go get your free steak at Texas Roadhouse or pasta at Olive Garden. Take your time and thank those that served as well, and take your time. Like, there's so many events going on for Veterans Day that people would really love to be able to shake your hand and just say thank you. And I think it just goes without saying that everyone loves to recognize the military for the most part.
And
So so
I
yeah,
just
that's I just wanted to base it on that, and thank all my brothers and sisters out there that have served with me, before me, after me, and that will continue to serve. Very possible that a couple of my children will serve, and I take a lot of pride in tomorrow, and I just want to say thank you to everybody.
thank you. And I had made mention a couple of weeks back during my Jacksonville trip with Zappy, uh, Idris and I, Gary, his wife. We were putting together care packages, and over a 4-hour period, the stadium that is right next to where the Jaguars play, and we hit our goal of 10,000. And something as small as that, sometimes you take things like that for granted, but it does mean a lot to these people that are deployed, and I think it's important to keep those people at the forefront of our minds, because at the end of the day, they do make some serious sacrifices for all of us, and it is important to show that appreciation at minimum. I definitely think that's a must.
And it is it, and I, as someone that has been in that exact situation where I received a care package, obviously I received one from my wife, I received one from my mom, and then I've also received one from someone I never met. It means a lot, because to get those reminders of home, to get
Yeah. Yep.
that pack of Oreo cookies, or to get whatever the case is, something that gives you that inspiration and desire that, all right, I'm doing something right, and it's almost over. So for all of, for everyone that's watching that may happen to be deployed, you're almost there. Keep fighting the fight. And for the people that are getting ready to deploy, hey, we've got you. We love each and every last one of you. Race, gender, doesn't matter. I don't care. You put your
Well,
uniform on the same way I do.
well put, Zap. Good stuff, man. Good show tonight. This was a fun one. I enjoyed this, man. This was a good show, and to think that I could have that much fun talking about the Colts and Raiders means that either I'm the only one who thinks that was a good segment, or I'm just really enjoying the show. But good job, buddy, as always. We're gonna catch you guys soon. Zappy is definitely looking forward to sharing his thoughts on the huge UFC match coming up, and we also are going to be here shortly in the near future talking about some NBA. Kyrie and LeBron, definitely hot topics right now, and I would more than be happy to speak on some of that in the very near future. Until next time, I am Richie for my guy Mike Zappy. Enjoy your evening and happy Veterans Day to all. Take care, guys, and thank you for watching.